Guys, it's Miss Thompson, and today our lesson is on choosing data displays. Your instructions are to work with me on the instructional part of the video and then complete the entire video on your own, including the quiz, or complete and submit the workbook pages to your teacher. So here we go. Here is your link. I'm going to get that in full screen.
Hey guys, take a look at this. Volunteers needed to raise funds for Smiles on Wheels, the mobile free dental clinic.
I've heard of that. They travel from school to school giving out free dental care to kids.
Decaying teeth? Let's bring some relief.
We're totally there.
Hi kids, I'm Dr. Abby. Thanks so much for volunteering. Convincing people to contribute money to our free dental clinic requires time and effort.
We want kids to get the dental care they need, Dr. Abby. How can we help?
Well, our newsletters are a big source of funding for Smiles on Wheels. Each month they are mailed out to donors in the community. It's important that we include graphs containing data to show how we help children. I could really use some assistance designing this month's newsletter.
Sounds important. Let's get started.
Yesterday, the 14th of May, our dentist saw many students with tooth decay. Some had as many as 8 cavities.
Ouch!
Here are 3 graphs showing the number of fillings each child received. A box plot, a histogram, and a dot plot. All 3 graphs are based upon the results from May 14th, but not all 3 show the number of students who were treated. Which one doesn't?
Which graph cannot be used to show how many students saw a dentist on May 14th? You're right. Box plots use percentiles and the minimum, maximum, and median. They cannot be used to find totals.
This is a lot of information. Let's start keeping track so we don't get confused. We can use either a histogram or a dot plot to see how many students were treated. They can be used to find totals. Box plots cannot be used to find totals, but they contain a lot of useful information. They show the minimum, maximum, median, quartiles, and outliers.
Okay, so before they ask you questions about which type of graph to use, be sure that you check back to this chart because you can always go back with your back arrow.
So how many students saw a dentist on May 14th?
All right, and to figure that out, I'm going to just add these numbers. I could count all the dots, but I could also just add these. Now, the way I add this is I know 17 and 17 is 34, plus 1 would be 35, and 10 would be 45. You can also use your calculator. As you can see, it is lit up down here.
Exactly.
We need to show our donors the number of students with 8 cavities so they understand the gravity of the situation. Which graph can we use to find out how many students received 8 fillings on May 14th?
Again, the box plot is not really great for totals because it uses percentages. The histogram, I know that 11 students had between 6 and 8 fillings, but I'm not sure how many had 6, how many had 7, how many had 8. On the line or dot plot, I can tell very easily that 3 students had 8. So I would go with this one.
That's right. The line or dot plot is the only graph that shows the total number of students that received 8 fillings.
So the dot plot is the only graph that shows a total for each value. The histogram shows values for entire intervals.
So, how many students received exactly 8 fillings on May 14th?
All right, and again, you just count the dots, so that would be 3.
3 students received 8 fillings.
Looks like we have our first graph. What other information should the donors know about?
Many donors want to see how their money is being used. Let's graph the number of students treated during the 80 school visits our free dental clinic made in the last 4 years. The donors want to make sure the school visits are benefiting many children. Which graph can be used to most easily display the number of visits where our dentist treated over 50 students?
Okay, the line plot, I can go to 50 and see all of this information. With the box plot, I can go here and see that most of the information is beyond 50. And here, I can very easily see that we have lots of information beyond that 50 mark. So I'm going to say the box plot.
The box plot doesn't tell you the exact number of visits where over 50 students were treated. Try again.
Okay, so even though we could tell that over half of the information is over here, it doesn't give us an exact number. Let's try the histogram.
Excellent. The histogram displays the data in intervals, making it easy to see the exact number of visits where over 50 students were treated.
So be sure when they're asking you for an exact number, you go with histogram or dot plot. To me, the histogram is much easier to see, though, because of the height of the boxes.
Remember that histograms and dot plots can both be used to find totals. But as your data sets get large, the dot plot becomes hard to use. That's why I usually use a histogram if I have more than 50 values in my data set, and a dot plot when I have less than 50 values in my data set. Box plots can also handle large sets of data because their size does not depend on how many values are in the data set.
Again, remember, you can always use your back arrow to come back to these charts.
Okay, so let's take a look at the histogram and find the total number of visits where our dentist treated more than 50 students.
Okay, and again, we're going to go from over 50 on up, so we can add these numbers. And just for example's sake, if you would like to use your calculator, you can click on it, move it to the side, and we see that we have 12 plus 9 plus 15 plus 19 plus 10 would give us 65. You can also use paper pencil, mental math. Sometimes I like to use the calculator just to make sure that I am most accurate.
You got it!
Or you can use the calculator to check your mental math and your paper pencil.
Great! The histogram will enable donors to easily see that our dentist made 80 visits to schools over a 4-year period. And there were exactly 65 visits where 51 to 100 children were treated.
So 65 out of 80 is a pretty big chunk.
Looks like we have our second graph. Smiles on Wheels is an amazing program. It helps so many kids.
You're so right, Olive. Smiles on Wheels has become so successful that we have expanded our services to 2 other cities. I've created 3 graphs displaying the number of students treated each month so the donors will be able to compare the work that is being done in each of the 3 cities. Let's start by looking at the medians. What is the median number of students treated per month in BARD? There are 3 graphs to look at, but not every one will be helpful.
All right, so if we're looking for medians, remember, let's go to our box plot. And they asked about BARD, so I can go, and we know that our middle line in the box of the box plot is the median, so that would be 400.
Awesome. 400 is right. The box plot marks the exact median.
So why couldn't I have used the line or dot plot?
Well, you could use a dot plot to find the median, but to do so, you would have to find the average of the 2 middle numbers. It's just a lot easier to find the median using a box plot.
Whoa, what's going on with those dot plots?
When the range of the data is large, it makes it difficult to create a good-looking dot plot.
This is something we need to make a note of. We should only use dot plots when we have one set of data with a small range of values.
So which graph can be used to most easily compare the 3 cities using their medians?
These we could easily tell exactly where the median is in the box plot.
The box plots allow us to quickly see the medians for all 3 cities and compare them.
This is great! Now donors will be able to quickly scan the box plots and see the impact our dental projects have in all 3 cities.
So box plots are definitely the best when it comes to comparing 2 or more sets of data. But the data is visually appealing in the histogram. Let's see what other comparisons we can make.
In which city were the most students treated in a single month?
All right, so in a single month, we have over 500 here, so I'm going to say Apex.
Nice going. The maximum value for Apex is greater than the maximum value for BARD and Cabo. So, the most students treated in a single month were in Apex.
Now, which city has the smallest range?
All right, remember the range is the difference of the larger and the smaller number, largest and smallest. So the one that seems to have the most range or the most variation would be BARD, even without figuring. You could figure the numbers.
Check the definition of range and try again.
Uh-oh. Oh, they asked for smallest range. Don't be a quick clicker. I clicked too quickly. I was looking for the largest range. So that should be Cabo.
You're doing great. The range is the difference between the minimum value and the maximum value. The arrow represents the range. Look, Cabo's is the smallest. So the dentist in Cabo see almost the same number of students each month.
All right, be careful about reading the question carefully. I wasn't careful
Some
enough.
of the ranges might be affected by an outlier. Which city's box plot contains an outlier?
All right, remember an outlier is a number that's way off the rest of the data. So seems to me this 200 over here would be our outlier for BARD because everything else is well over 300. So I'm going to say BARD.
Exactly. The long left whisker in Bard's box plot shows us there was at least 1 month when an unusually low number of students were treated. That's an outlier. There could be many things that happened to explain that.
You're right about that. We were only treating summer school students that month.
Okay, so we have 3 graphs now.
Looks like we have all the information we need, but let's review. A line or dot plot is often a good choice if we have one set of data with a small range of values. So it's a good choice if there are 50 or fewer values in the data set, and you want to know totals for each value. In this case, we have one set of data that ranges from 0 to 8, with 45 students treated, and every student's filling total is shown. Histograms are a good choice when there are 50 or more values in a data set. When you want the data grouped in intervals, and the data needs to be visually appealing. In this case, we have 80 school visits. Our student totals are grouped in intervals of 10, and it's easy to see that in 65 school visits, 51 to 100 students were treated. Box plots are often a good choice when there are 2 or more data sets. When you are working with extremely large data sets, and when you want a 5-point summary, which can show any unusual observations or outliers.
Here's the newsletter, Dr. Abby, hot off the press.
Thanks so much, kids. It looks amazing. Hopefully, the data in this newsletter will convince many donors to contribute to Smiles on Wheels.
Making sure kids get the dental care they need is pretty important, Dr. Abby. We're glad we could help.
Remember, don't hold back. Spread some cheer. Step up and volunteer.
Okay, so next will be your quiz. If you would like those charts at the end where they said let's review to have for as you're doing your quiz as a reference, you can always screenshot those 3 screens and put them over on the side of your desktop so that you can refer back to those. Also, don't be a quick clicker like I was and not read the question carefully. All right, that's it for today. Remember to ask your teacher if you have any questions or problems. You can chat through Canvas, use Remind through your parents, and Zoom on Friday. See you later. Bye-bye.